Sup, dude? There are many white shooters who've been despised by America, most of which unfortunately involved schools, but there was one who played basketball. His name was JJ Redick, and he was actually a pretty cool guy who loved to hoop and write poetry. Despite this, when he got to college, people hated him as much as they hated Osama bin Laden. This was because he went to Duke, his jump shot was cash, and he was a bit cocky. Those are valid reasons to get heckled, but dudes were calling his brother gay and saying they did it with his 12-year-old sister. I'm no saint, but that's messed up. Josh Giddey wouldn't even go that low. Before becoming the Antichrist, he was just a normal kid. Well, not exactly normal. The dude was a prodigy in both baseball and basketball. Back during the summer after 6th grade, for a grueling 2 weeks, he led his AAU basketball team deep into a tournament with a broken thumb. Then right after the tournament ended, without much sleep, he pitched in the state AAU baseball championship where he struck out 15 hitters in 8 innings. The kid was a pimp. Although super talented in both sports, he ended up quitting baseball, deciding to focus solely on basketball. This proved to be a smart decision because he became one of the best high school hoopers in the nation. Standing at 6'4" with T-Rex arms made up of 190 pounds of pure steel, possessing a jumper smoother than a baby's bottom, the dude was a force to be reckoned with. At home, he practiced on a gravel driveway that made dribbling not too fun, so his jumper got tons of reps. And it showed on the court. The dude was like White Death sniping from deep. During his senior year, he hit 99 threes in 22 games, averaging 28 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists. And just like in middle school, he still had that dog in him. He took his team to the state championship and led them to victory, dropping 43 points with a bum foot. His impressive play and drive to win turned him into a Duke Blue Devil, which was what he always dreamt of being, but as I mentioned earlier, it sadly turned into a nightmare. The Blue Devils had a rich history of unlikable white dudes, and JJ was a perfect candidate to be the next. Growing up, he was pretty sheltered, so when he got on campus, he became a wild man. He partied like a frat bro, going out most of the week, drinking lots of beer and eating like shit, but he still managed to light everyone up on the court. Through his first 2 years, he averaged 15 points, shooting nearly 40% from 3. His deadly jumper and cocky attitude put a huge target on his back. At every game, he'd get relentlessly harassed. One game, people were wearing shirts that said, "I want to name my kid JJ Redick," and on the back it said, "and beat him every day." Kinda funny and better than the 12-year-old sister thing, but still pretty harsh. The hate didn't make him play bad, but off the court, he had to begin taking antidepressants, seeing a therapist, and in December of his sophomore year, he debated quitting basketball altogether. The dude was 25 pounds overweight and just wasn't having fun anymore. Everyone hated him and he didn't know why. Not enjoying what you do can make your life miserable. Back when I was a server at a retirement home, I was extremely unhappy. I got no joy from getting yelled at while making $10 an hour. You may feel the same way about your job. The good news is the sponsor of today's video, Southern New Hampshire University, can help turn your dreams into reality with their online sports management program. This degree can help prepare you for an exciting career as an athletic director, sports information director, marketing manager, and many other roles in the sports industry. At SNHU, you'll learn about the business and economics of sports, sports management principles, and how to gather and analyze data, as well as be able to tap into SNHU's network of graduates working in sports-related organizations and take advantage of an internship or experiential learning course within the field. Courses are taught by faculty with real-world experience, so there will be many opportunities to connect with people in the industry. And when you graduate, SNHU will still be there to help you as you begin your job hunt. SNHU is accredited, nonprofit, and has radically affordable tuition, and they were voted as one of the country's most innovative universities by US News and World Report. Go to snhu.edu/MBAGoober, also linked in my description, to see if you qualify for SNHU's sports management program. You might be eligible for financial aid or have previous college credits that could fast track your degree at SNHU. Click the link to get started. Anywho, JJ was going through the ringer, but his sisters talked him out of quitting and he finished out his sophomore year. He may have been a fat, out-of-shape jackass, but he managed to bring Duke all the way to the Final Four. They could have been national champions, but they lost to UConn by a point, and a lot of the blame was on JJ. In that UConn game, he chucked up bricks, going 4 for 12 from the field. Had he been physically and mentally ready, they very well could have gone all the way. Coach K made sure he knew that too. After the season, he told JJ they didn't win a national championship because he wasn't worthy of being a champion. Those words haunted him, but put him on a path of success. That summer, he and his coaches started meticulously planning out his days, leaving no room for debauchery. The result of this was a massive leap in his game. As a junior, he upped his scoring to 22 a night while shooting 40% from 3, and as a senior, he shot 42% from 3, scoring 27 a night. His strict lifestyle made him dangerous, and NBA scouts' mouths were watering. The dude's shot was mechanically perfect, contested or not, and and he worked his ass off to get open. He was one of the best shooters anyone had ever seen. Size-wise and defensively, he didn't impress, but that didn't hurt him too much. Neither did getting arrested for a DUI. He was projected to go in the lottery the 2006 draft and did just that, getting picked 11th by the Orlando Magic. The Magic were coming off a 36-46 season, but their future was bright because they had a 21-year-old superstar that was thicker than a bowl of oatmeal named Dwight Howard. JJ definitely did not feel he was a part of their bright future. His NBA career got off to a pretty rocky start, not necessarily because of his performance, but because he wasn't given much of an opportunity. As a rookie, he appeared in only 42 games, getting a measly 15 minutes a night. He made do with it, averaging 6 points, nailing 39% of his threes. Despite this, the next year he didn't get an increased role. Matter of fact, his role got severely diminished. His minutes dropped to 8 a night. Even when he played well, he didn't get rewarded, so he became fed up and requested a trade. But his request didn't get honored, so on the bench he sat. In his third season, things got a little better. He was playing a bit more than he did his rookie year, and the Magic were really good. Dwight brought them to the biggest stage, and JJ had a nice impact in the Eastern Conference semifinals. In that series, he was Orlando's sixth man, averaging 6 points, shooting 36% from 3. Pretty solid, but he didn't get to keep that role. He barely played the rest of the playoffs. Through 3 seasons, the Duke star looked like a bust, but that narrative quickly died over the course of the next 4. From 2009 to 2013, his minutes consistently increased as well as his production. He flourished in the Magic offense designed around the big fella. Dwight would suck the D down low, which created open shots outside. JJ thrived as one of Dwight's perimeter shooters, increasing his scoring up to 14 a night, but when Superman got traded to LA, JJ's time in Orlando was over. On February 21st, 2013, he got traded to Milwaukee, where he played a very forgettable 28 games. This was a blessing in disguise because the Bucks didn't see a future with him and the Clippers were in search of an off-ball shooter to space the floor. JJ was their match made in heaven. So that offseason, Milwaukee traded him to Lob City, where he signed a 4-year, $27 million deal. He was their final infinity stone. They were now ready to compete for a championship. In Orlando, JJ was a bench player, but now he was a full-fledged starter. In his first season with them, he was limited to just 35 games because he injured his shooting hand, but in those games, he was exactly what they hoped for. He was a sniper, averaging 15 points a night. And he also earned the nickname Bubs, which is probably one of my favorite nicknames. Thanks to Bubs, LA had the best offense in the league, winning 56 games and looked to continue their dominance into the postseason. In the 2 seasons prior, they shit the bed during the playoffs, but their chances this year looked really good. In round 1, they faced off against the Baby Warriors, and in the first game, JJ went nuclear, dropping 22 points, missing just 3 shots. They lost that game, but bounced back in dominant fashion, winning the next 2. After that, it was back and forth up until Game 7, where JJ contributed 20 points, moving the Clippers to round 2 to face off against OKC. He played well in that series, shooting over 40% from 3, but just like in years prior, LA pissed all down their leg, losing in 6. Although they failed yet again, they still had one more chance to contend the next year. The 2015 regular season went like usual. They dominated and JJ shot the lights out from 3, averaging 16 points, knocking down 44% of his deep balls. It wasn't really a question of whether or not the team would be good through 82, people just questioned if they would hold up after that, especially because they were set to face off against the defending champs in round 1. However, they shocked the world, taking San Antonio to 7 games, and in that closeout game, JJ shot a blistering hot 57% from 3, then Chris Paul put a period on it, hitting a game winner. They continued their stellar play in round 2 against James Harden and the Rockets, taking a 3-1 series lead. It seemed like they were finally ready to make a push. Surely they wouldn't shit themselves. They did. They blew the 3-1 lead and just like that got bounced in the second round for the second year in a row. That was their last opportunity at a ring. Injuries would plague them and the team went downhill. Individually though, JJ was better than ever. In 2016, he led the league in 3-point percentage, shooting a ridiculous 47% from 3. And the next year he impressed again, knocking down 42% of his threes. He was aging like fine wine. Though because LA looked to go in a different direction, Philly had their eyes on him. So when his contract ran up in the 2017 offseason, they threw a bag at him, offering a 1-year deal worth $23 million. He happily signed and Philly got what they paid for. The dude may have been 33, but that jumper was still butter. He averaged a career-high 17 points and lit the net on fire from deep. He played a vital role for the Sixers. They knew they needed him if they wanted to compete, so they gave him a $13 million extension for the next season. The 2018-19 season was another opportunity for him to win a ring. The Sixers had a solid squad made up of Jimmy Butler, Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, and Tobias Harris. As their shooter, JJ set a new career high, scoring 18 a night, helping Philly win 51 games. In the playoffs, they dominated Brooklyn in round 1, moving on to face Kawhi and the Raptors. This series was a war, but sadly Kawhi showed everyone his nuts were massive, making Embiid cry and ruining JJ's chances of winning a ring. After his time with Philly, he signed with New Orleans. He was pretty good, but soon after retired and became arguably the best podcaster in the game. The dude had a career full of ups and downs, but in the end he came out on top. He's a highly underrated part of NBA history, being one of the best shooters and one of the smartest players ever. You know who else was really smart? Arguably the smartest? Chris Paul, and it just so happens my last video was about him. You can click here to watch the video I made on him. Thanks for watching this one. Hope you enjoyed. Bye, dude.